Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another backtesting episode. So I wanted to take the time just very quickly to touch on the previous session and this mistrade. Now, at the time, I kind of said, "Oh, is it a mistrade? Is it not?" Because I wanted to wait for something very specific. However, after reevaluating this, let's look at some key elements to this trade as to why it was a mistrade. Now, the fundamental one is the fact that if we look at this candle here, this down close candle here, we have already confirmed the M15 bearish order block. However, if we go down to the M5, at this point here, there was no aligned imbalance to support lower prices. So then we see the formation of the balanced price range here on NQ, and we've got a very thin snippet of a balanced price range on ES. So now, going back to my rules, one of the rules in particular states that if there is an M15 fair value gap or BPR structure within essentially the order block, use that over the M5. So we have that here. Now, price goes back into the order block, retest that key price level, and also the BPR on ES and the BPR on NQ, and it rejects. So the moment we saw the rejection and the confirmation now of this new propulsion block here, which is this here. There. That confirmed the entry. And furthermore, despite me saying that I was waiting for price to come back and retest here, there was no reason for price to come back into here. We've had the propulsion block. We've confirmed the propulsion block. Plus, we've retested the balanced price range where we've rejected, confirming that price does not want to go above this level. At that point, I should have just engaged with a market order, here. That's ultimately, sorry, I tell a lie, propulsion block. I mean, yeah, the propulsion block is here, but ultimately that was the M5 propulsion block. But what I'm referring to is once price had gone back into this balanced price range here on the M15, as we can see here on NQ, and rejected there, that's the trade. So on ES, market order here is the trade with the fair value, with the stop loss above the BPR above here. That was the trade. And if furthermore, if we go to the, I think that's the daily. I probably don't want to focus too much on the daily, but yeah, that's probably even a weekly. Let's not worry too much about that. But if we go back to here, that's what spoiled the trade. So the question then becomes, okay, so what do you do in terms of trade targets, trade management, etc.? Well, essentially the trade target doesn't change. So instead of being a 2R trade from the original entry level, we adjust it so it becomes a 1.5R. Now, what does that mean in terms of what do we do with the trade? Well, we just manage the trade accordingly. We could have taken off 80% at 1.5. Apologies, phone's vibrating. We could have taken 80% at 1.5 and then let the rest run to 2.5. So the point being here is that it was a mistrade because price did not need to come back to that entry level. It had already gone there, confirmed it, come back and retested it, and then left it again. There was no reason for it to go back, especially bearing in mind that it rejected from a balanced price range. So I just wanted to touch base on that very quickly before we begin this session here. And again, guys, if you enjoy the content, if you like the things that I'm saying, if it makes sense to you, if it resonates, if it's helping you in your trading journey, if you wouldn't mind, just give the video a like. And also, if you enjoy the content or you're enjoying it, or you're learning something, give the channel, subscribe to the channel, so you obviously receive any notifications, etc., that I post. And finally, if maybe the content's not for you, but maybe you know somebody who would benefit from the content, why not just share this content with them? Hopefully it's going to serve a purpose to somebody. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I would really appreciate that. So moving on, let's crack on. So I think we're going to have a look at Friday. I wouldn't naturally look at Friday. And sorry, just quickly before we leave this point here, as to why this was a high probability trade. High time frame SMT at the highs, as we can see here, between ES and NQ. We've got that there. Okay. Above previous day's high and below. Drop down to the 1 hour time frame. Both purged the London high. Love to see that. Rejected. So it's taken a hourly liquidity pool, rejected, perfect. Then likely to see lower prices. Anywho, so let's clear our M15 and our M1 references. Even some M5s are in there. That. Yeah. That can go. But before we do that, I've just sort of cleared all of that. But what I should really do, I'm just going to drop back down to the M15. Play price on, because that's midday. Let's go to the next session, see what happened with price. Yeah, would have expected that to have continued lower. It's clearly got, because we wanted to see price trade below the true week open. I mean, bloody hell. YM's really sold off. Like, really sold off. Let's just check the H1. Yeah, look at that. It's a proper sell-off. Wow. Okay. So we're in the H1. Go to the next session. And we'll go one more. Right. So we're into Friday. Let's clear all the hourly stuff and any M15 stuff that may exist. Go. And then we'll have a look at our H4 and daily levels. Okay. So first and foremost, let's go out to the daily. See what we've got. Okay. So rejection from this civvy. There is a civvy here as well on ES. Okay. Right. Okay. That could be of interest. We'll have a look at that. So the same low. No, but that is. Okay. Gonna remove that. Remove that. And gonna remove that for now. Right, so Okay, let's drop down to the H4. I'm not seeing anything there that is. So a lot going here in terms of violation of PD arrays and stuff alike. This is interesting. Obviously, what price action on Thursday. It's really interesting. Want to get rid of this. That. Okay, now let's mark this in. Okay. Okay, so we have that. Just want to pop out to the weekly. I'm inclined to remove the weekly BISI. I'll leave it on ES for now, but I'm more inclined looking at this daily BISI instead. That's what I'm focusing on. Excuse me. Remind me that was Monday. Okay. So H4. Let's drop this down. So we've got Tuesdays. Oh. Okay. Right. So let's have a look. So one of the things that we can certainly note is got this fair value gap here. Why is this significant? Because if NQ is keen, or certainly if the market is keen to reprice lower, then we would expect to see fine, I'll leave it as that. Would expect to see support of lower prices from there. We wouldn't anticipate, if the market is weak, then in theory it's first in balance. Now, is it, I forgot my train of thought. Right, so it'll come back to me. Let's get into this motion. So that's the low starting Friday. So we don't want to do anything with that specific low as it pertains to key liquidity pool, sort of a daily liquidity pool, but we will be doing something as it pertains to a key liquidity pool. So all of that on that there, here we can duplicate that, put it there, and here we're going to move this up. So key liquidity pools below the marketplace. Also want to note this high probability order block. That's important. not confirmed, but important nonetheless. So we'll be looking for H1 imbalance in there to confirm that order block. Okay, so obviously mitigation block here. Oh dear. Oh. Yeah, I guess so. So I want to take this. Okay, so I'm just going to extend this out. That'll do. Just to give myself a little bit more clearance. Okay. So we have this H4 liquidity pool. I'll mark that out. Now it could well be likely the market continues lower. That's fine. That's, you know, we want to see market signatures to support that. We haven't confirmed the SMT at the lows, so we're going to wait. But we can see that all three members have traded up into their SIBI and started to reject. So could that mean that all members are looking to reprice lower? Possibly. Could that mean that we're engineering liquidity above this high to come back and target it at a certain point? Very possibly. So need to determine yet what the likelihood of things are. This imbalance here, that is, so this imbalance here would confirm market structure shift because we've traded through a level of reaccumulation just in there. So if I just going to highlight this, might highlight it in a grey. Okay, so just take the BPR one for now. You know, I could just put reac for reaccumulation, which then this low, let's take a symbol, this low would be market structure shift. So we'll do the same thing here. Imbalance there where the reaccumulation took place, and that ultimately, and that would align with not that one actually. Okay, so I think we are in a position to commence analysis. So let's go. So where are we? We're into Friday the 22nd. Okay, so first things first, I want to venture out to the daily, have a look at order flow. Okay, so relative to the let's have a look. So the daily time frame, IOF remains bearish, which has been supported by the high time frame displacement, which will which was initiated by the high time frame SMT at the highs. So again, I just want to remind everyone, it's super important to define your consistent approach to analyzing the market. It's absolutely pointless if you have a process in which you 1 minute you're doing one thing and then next minute you're doing another thing, or you're looking at certain things one day and certain things the other. You need a repeatable, rules-based approach to your analysis. Like, you need that, because that's how you're going to leverage consistency. Then when you carry out your daily and weekly journals and you identify certain things that could benefit your analysis, understanding of price and the direction and so on and so forth, at that point you go away and you backtest that. You go and find at least 10 examples, possibly more, to prove what thesis or theory you have that you're looking to add to your trading models or trading plan. And once you've got that data and you're satisfied and happy that it's consistent. Now, I'm not saying consistent at 100%. I don't think it's necessarily feasible that you can push for that, although it is certainly out there. But I do think that you've got to set your barometer. So for me, it's going to be 80% plus, somewhere in there. If I see that level of efficacy, then that is going to drive me to believe that, okay, I can add this element into my trading model or trading plan, because the statistics behind this core criteria or element will enhance and improve the probability of any potential trade idea that I deem noteworthy. So I just wanted to touch on that. It's super important that people focus on that the consistency of analysis is mightily important. Okay, so let's keep this moving. So that's the daily. I'm keeping it at the daily for the time being. I'm just going to note as well. Important to note that the high time frame cracking correlation formed within the BPR weekly, which supports the idea of lower prices. Okay, so if we venture out now, we can also see how the market traded up into a discount before trading lower. It's kind of the range. So we can see now that potentially these lows are in the crosshairs, potentially. Why is that? Well, because the market rejected from the BPR, which would then support the potential of seeing lower prices. Now, if we get a cracking and also as well, we've seen an overlap from NQ, but we have personal liquidity, and that in itself is important to note. So ERL, IRL. Well, it's a tough one. Okay, I'm going to make note of this. Let me just get my microphone. So looking at the daily, let's go out to the weekly. Okay, so So following the high time frame displacement lower, which was also validated by the BPR weekly, the market has traded to the BSI weekly, where I have noted on NQ the market trading to and through. Okay. So therefore, my immediate attention turns to the old low weekly ERL. However, should the market form and confirm and high time frame cracking correlation at the lows aligned with the BSI weekly / daily, this could support the idea of higher prices if below the true week and true month open. Okay, so we've got to determine now what the market ultimately does. If we confirm the H4 order block, then we are likely seeing higher prices today, or certainly near term. If we don't, then we can probably anticipate an aggressive run towards that old low. Not and NQ looks way more likely to want to purge that low. Okay, so let's go to SP. Let's drop down to the H4. Okay, so the market, no, I have noted the, but yeah, why can't I spell? I have noted the clean and clear swing points above and below current price, referencing the previous day's high and the previous day's low. Okay, so these key price levels have formed above and below the true week open, where if purged could form a high probability trade idea. If coupled with a high time frame cracking correlation. Furthermore, this is where near term liquidity would reside. Okay. TO. Currently ES and NQ are trading below their respective true week open, whilst YM is currently above. This does form low probability conditions, however, with ES and NQ aligned, potential trade ideas would still be viable. Okay, so now we're going to go to the Kraken correlation. So I have noted the unconfirmed high time frame SMT at the lows, but would require H1 confluences. Well, I don't necessarily need H1 confluences if I'm honest. I don't necessarily need the H forward block. So I'm just going to put but would require low time frame confluences to support the trade idea. Furthermore, I had also noted the high time frame cracking correlation at the highs, which was responsible for the displacement lower. Okay, so the unconfirmed one at the lows is going to be key. I'm just going to drop down to the hourly. Just want to have a quick little mooch at this one. Higher. H1. And finally, looks like, go with this one. Okay, so and then we've got a H1 liquidity purge here as well, which we'll note in a second. Okay, so we're gonna get into more detail with our analysis now, because we want to obviously confirm our game plans. Okay, so I'm going to stay on the M1. So we had this inversion, but the market has since sort of traded back below it. So, and then we had this imbalance here, which again, if we're looking, this is a true market structure shift. Okay. Okay, so a little interest in there, but oh god. Let's mark up, see where we are, and then we can formulate some ideas. Okay, so we have London high. Okay, and then I just want the same liquidity pool here. Fine. This is not confirmed yet until this candle confirms, so we'll leave that. There was a but in fact let's just mark it like that. Now remember, this is Friday, so low probability conditions, reduce risk if need be. You know, Friday's never, for me anyway, has never been a like resounding profitable day. Right, so now we want to look at imbalances. So again, if we were to see lower prices, then I ideally would want to see it from here. Oh, sorry, my bad. I'm gonna get this. Mark that in there, and then this one here. Mark that in there. So we're monitoring that key price level. As a potential trade idea. Okay, so let's have a look at our game plans. So naturally, the lows. With the market below the true week open, following the confirmed high time frame SMT at the lows, so that was bear with me, that was balanced. Okay, right. So with following the confirmed high time frame crack correlation at the lows, this could support higher prices. With the crack correlation forming during the London session, I would personally would like to see a Kraken correlation, but neither asset actually needs to do that. So now we've got market symmetry after the fact. And I guess that and the market traded up into a 4-hour inflection point. So with the market, so it's kind of invalidated to some extent that trade idea, because of traded into the inflection point. However, they all traded into the inflection point, which means that that high is a weak high. So I would like to see a low time frame Kraken correlation to support higher prices. Okay, so that's one. So they all did trade into here, but because they all did, to me, that supports the idea of this high could be purged. There could be a deeper run into that CB. I'm not saying that there will be, I'm saying that there's a chance there could be. So I'd like to see another purge, ideally at the lows. Okay, let's have a look at. So again, we are below the true week open. We've had higher time frame SMT at the lows. Sorry, just bear me 1 second. Okay. Now, if the market was going to trade lower, is an interesting take. That is actually a very interesting take, because it does present a potential trade idea. Apologies, my computer is super slow today. Again. I mean, what time is that? 3. So we'd have 2 till 6. 6 till 10. Okay, so potentially if we're going to see lower prices, so with the market below the true week open, if the market is to seek further lower prices, then I would like to see an high time frame SMT form inside the CBH4. Has to be an SMT, not a PDA SMT, because all three members have purged the key price level. So it's setting the stage for lower prices. So am I interested in a sort of continuation? No. Now, if the market did form or create new SMT at the lows, but again, I think in order to do that, the market's got to do a lot of stuff. The question is are we looking now at lower prices? So if we go back to IOF, well, it's supporting lower prices. So the question does become: are we? Is that what we're looking for? Lower prices. And the answer to that question is very likely, because that if we took a trade in alignment with institutional order flow, that should be high probability because the weekly appears that way and the daily. So, and if we look at our ERL, IRL, we're saying we could see lower prices. So, number 3, could be with price being below the true week open and the market appearing to, because bearing in mind we have had displacement away from, which goes to M15. We have had displacement away from the H4 SIBI, so, and the market appearing to support lower prices by respecting high time frame imbalances. If the market leaves an H1 imbalance and then forms low time frame cracking correlation in the form of PDA SMT or low time frame SMT, this could support further lower prices. So we have to see what happens. So there's no news, so we're going to obviously wait for the volatility of equities open. So we're going to mark that up. Okay, so we've got no news. So we're going to see, do we find support for lower prices at the CB? Just going to go back out. I want to see. So obviously potential SMT at the lows, but potential formation of a balanced price range above the marketplace supporting lower prices. So lower prices does seem far more likely right now, if I'm honest. Okay, so, but we've just got to got to see what happens. Just go back to this and just make sure. Okay. Oh boy, this is a session. Okay, so we got 3 scenarios. I think lower prices appears more likely, but we'll see. We'll see. Going to drop to the M15. We want to get to initially 830 and then on to 930, then see where we are, whether the market forms a trade idea that we can potentially look to engage in. Okay, so first point of call is we want to monitor the hourly SIBI. So let's see what happens. So currently traded through, but again the hourly candle hasn't closed. Okay, that's looking rather bullish because yeah, we can sort of see that. So that is interesting. I'm not going to take a trade so far out of market. Makes no sense to me. But definitely we've got the hourly candle in now. So potential balance price range now, which is as at a consequence of the high time frame crack and correlation at the lows. So potential BPR, bullish order block ultimately is held, run of liquidity here. No crack and correlation from that standpoint. So I am going to wait. And again, if the bus goes without me, off it goes. NQ. Okay, so we're going to drop down to the 1 minute now because now let's have a look at what we've seen up here. Low time frame crack and correlation at the SIBI. Okay, so yeah, this has formed a low time frame crack and correlation at the highs. Not something that I'm looking to trade or anything of that nature. So again, if the market decides to go without me, then so be it. However, if we get a H1 displacement, then that could be quite interesting, right? Because of the view that the market wants to reprice lower. It's respecting that SIBI. We haven't traded to CE at all, which means that the lows are in the crosshairs. There isn't any hourly displacement yet, so we are sorry, I just want to, we're on the hourly. Yeah. Okay, now we've got this low formed. Okay, that's fine. We can obviously see YM supporting finding support at the CB, but obviously ES and ES and NQ, that's not the case. So I want to see a little bit more. We're going to go down to about okay. And ES doesn't look likely to want to NQ's not looking likely that it wants to purge its low, but let's continue. YM certainly looks like it wants to purge the old low, which is technically the Asia range. That could be interesting in itself. That would certainly support a trade idea for higher prices. So equities open now. Going to step through this. So now with YM we've got okay. And we're sort of looking at, so we've got two sets. We've got that here, but the more important one is this one. So we're just gonna, in fact, I'm just going to mark that one out because that's the key one. NQ appearing as though it wants to reprice higher. Drop down to the M15. Okay, so let's see what happens. Ooh. So NQ certainly looks as though it wants to trade up to its previous day's high, which is incredible. I'm looking at this with real skepticism right now, but let's see what we've got. No M5 imbalance here, so any higher price trade is currently not viable. Would need to wait for that. We'd also need to wait and see what YM does. So let's click through. Okay, so ES now looking to reprice lower. Just dropping out to the hourly just to take a more holistical look at things. So it looks as though the SMT is from the CB is in play, but again, until I've seen a imbalance supporting lower prices, I'm not too interested. So let's go. Sort of 50-50, but downside does look more plausible, but we'll see. Okay, so we're going to just click on. Yeah, so this is certainly seeking lower prices now. Now we've got this imbalance in here. It's a small, tiny imbalance in here, but as we can see, it's sort of easy to go, oh yeah, we've got this imbalance, we only need an imbalance on one of them, and so on and so forth. It's just not my preferred approach. Okay, so looks like we're going lower. Well, it's not looking likely. I mean, the M. If we just stick on the M1 for sorry, the H1. Okay, so now we've seen huge rejection. NQ failed trade below its H4, so we want to look at the 15. Want to see, do we? I mean, it's such a large candle. I'd be surprised. It's very low probability conditions. So we're just going to keep clicking through. Sorry, it's getting to that point in time where I'm starting to feel a little bit tired. But we're going to keep going. Let's just drop back out to the hourly, see what's happening here. So BPR's not confirmed yet. We've still got a lot to go in terms of BPR. We've still got a lot as well to go by way of an imbalance. So we can and also we can remove this now. So and we'll just keep this one here because it's the closest. Okay, so yeah, certainly lower prices appears the appeal. Not seeing anything by way of tradable opportunity yet. Get rid of that. Get rid of the order block as well. Because we'll need to sort of frame a new position off this if we're going to seek higher prices. Certainly appears as though lower prices. Okay, sorry, let's just go back. In fact, I want to be on the H1 time frame. No, sorry. We want to go back here. So I want to see. Do we have this? That's what we want to see. Do we get a close above that level? And we'll need to see something on let's go there. Okay. So NQ supporting the idea of higher prices. No, it's rejected. So this is not There's no imbalance here. So to me, it's now looking as low probability conditions in terms of my models and what I look for. But we'll see. Okay, that's interesting. So it's just past 10 o'clock. So look, so we've had the 10 o'clock candle now. Sorry, the 9 o'clock candle confirmed. So let's see what we have. Sorry, I want to go back out to the because this is looking more like that now. And yeah, that's exactly how it's starting to look. Okay, so this order block is still very much valid. Propulsion block here. In terms of the hourly, drop to the M15. Still need to see a little bit more. ES is rejecting currently from the CB. Just going to press play. And ES forming a new low. Yeah, so this is certainly looking at lower prices. The challenge or the issue is that we've got the displacement on ES. There's no displacement on NQ. So for me, this is low probability conditions. I'm not looking to engage in anything currently. There's nothing that supports a trade idea for me. The continuation, we've called correctly. Could we have taken this potential trade up here? Yeah, possibly. Very much possibly we could have done. If we go out to the hourly. Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's, to me, not necessarily the best. The best trade. But the market appears to want to continue lower, so we'll see what happens now. Yep, so all of them now have purged the low. Admittedly, previous daily low. Let's just go out and have a look. Yeah, so YM is now approaching the key price level that the others have purged. And as soon as it does that, we're outside of the trade execution window anyway, so I'm not interested in anything. Shorts certainly were the play. SMT inside of there, above time-based liquidity, was certainly plausible. Didn't meet my model, so I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I've missed a trade, because I haven't. So I'm just double checking that nothing was missed. Yeah. So yeah, although we directionally we got it right with the H4 order flow. If we look at the M15 time frame, many people would have seen this trade into here, displacement trade, and yes, you'd have had to have ran through all of this, but you know, certainly possible. There's a tiny imbalance here on NQ. So I'm just going to play on a little bit longer, but I'm going to leave this one here. There's nothing doing yet. Market's now continuing and really repricing lower, which is fine. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one here. Directionally, we got it right. We saw the rejection the from the CB. I wanted to see a higher time frame or certainly a higher graded cracking correlation before engaging lower. I didn't want to see a low time frame cracking correlation, so that kept me out. That ruled me out of the trade there. But the market ultimately continued lower. I was then looking for a H1 displacement lower. We got the H1 displacement on ES, didn't get the H1 displacement on NQ, so this didn't present an opportunity for us to potentially look to engage the market. So that being said, I'm going to leave this one here. Hopefully you've taken something away from this. If you haven't already, if you wouldn't mind liking the video, and if you would be kind enough, if this, you know, the content interests you, then please subscribe to the channel. It certainly helps, and hopefully through your subscription can reach many more people. So I'm going to leave this one here, and guys, as always, I'll catch you in the next one.